Okay, week 43 done. Now let's come on to the best triathlete on the planet. Alistair, is that fair to say? Or are you too modest?
Well, thank you very much. It's obviously a massive compliment. I think it's probably one of the biggest cliches in sport, isn't it? That you're only as good as your last race, and I was third in that. So, yeah, maybe not at the moment.
Alistair, you sound like our boss. You're only as good as your current week.
Yeah, absolutely. Completely agree with him.
I just want to show a very, very quick video of you in action, if I can, Alistair. Alistair, how does it feel when you watch that back of yourself in action?
Yeah, I don't like watching myself too much, so I wasn't actually watching it. But yeah, I mean, some of it feels like a very long time ago now. You know, even I guess the last Olympic Games that was in Rio over 4 years ago seems, yeah, a lifetime ago in so many ways. Yeah, sport does move so fast, and you kind of got to in lots of ways. You know, you have a great race, and you've almost got to get up, not quite the next morning, but you know, a few mornings after, and you've got to get back on the bus, as it were, and get back in the swimming pool training, back on the bike, and back running.
To be a world champion at one sport is obviously massively impressive. To be a world champion at something that involves three different sports that are all quite different, saying different parts of the body, I mean, that's incredible. What on earth made you want to go down that route as a kid?
Yeah, well, thank you very much. I don't know is the honest answer. As a young kid, as a 6-year-old, I started swimming. My mum was quite into swimming. Started running just afterwards, you know, like cross country and stuff that everyone does at school. For some reason, I enjoyed it. And soon after that, I actually had an uncle who was doing triathlon. He was doing Ironman, and I thought I want to give that a go. And I think as an 8-year-old, that was it. I was kind of hooked, and obviously, you know, as an 8-year-old, you don't think, right, this is what I'm going to try and do as my career and for the rest of my life. But just kind of gradually through my teens, I did more and more of it. Became more and more competitive, and that was it really. By the time I was 18, 19, I was fully kind of you know, doing all I could to be the best athlete I possibly could.
You're from quite a sporty background, aren't you? I was reading that your dad was a runner, your mum was a swimmer, and then you've obviously got two brothers as well as yourself. So sport was in the family when you were growing up, I guess.
Yeah, sport, definitely. Sport, you know, my mum was really competitive swimming, and my dad was a runner and stuff. But I think more than anything, it was just a lifestyle of being active and being, you know, outside. And, you know, I remember just being really young and like being told to, like, you know, we're climbing this hill or walking across this moor, and it's just the kind of thing that we did. And I think more than anything, actually, that's the thing that has kind of led me to doing sport, because I think like sport has to become, you know, it's not just something you do, it's not your hobby, your job. it's got to be kind of your lifestyle in lots of ways, because you're getting up in the morning, you're going training, and then you're coming home, you're going training, and then you're coming home, you're going, so you have to enjoy it. You have to enjoy, I think, being outside. You have to enjoy the activity. You have to be inspired by being outside and the small things, because you can't sit on the sofa and prize yourself off the sofa 3 times a day to go training. That's not going to be sustainable for months and years.
And is that so? 3 times a day training, is that once for one cycling, one swimming, and one run, I guess, or does it not work like that?
Yeah, most days. I don't train 3 times quite every day, although most days, and some days, like a Monday, actually it's swimming, cycling, running and gym. So yeah, I mean 3 or 4 times most days. I guess like yesterday, for example, it was longer stuff, so I was out cycling for nearly 4 hours and running for nearly 2 hours. So that was only 2 training sessions, but it's like a long 6-hour day of activity.
I wouldn't want to compete against you for calories on an Apple Watch. How many calories do you do in a day?
Yeah, I don't track it so much like on a watch or anything. But yeah, I think it can be between 3,000 and 5,000 of basically expended like kilojoules and kilocalories, as it were. Yeah, and you got to try and eat well. One of the challenges is actually you've got to eat quite a lot, but not fill it with, and especially as I got a bit older, you've got to not eat it like rubbish. And that's it's the same as everyone. Everyone knows this. We all know how to eat and have a healthy diet. Yeah, every single one of us knows that, but doing it is the difficult bit. So yeah, when you've been out cycling, whatever, for a few hours in the cold and wet weather, the first thing you want to come home and you want to replace those calories with chocolate in the chocolate cupboard, and you still got to try and replace it with like decent food, obviously like good whole grains and fruit and veg and stuff.
I'm surprised you find the time to eat with that sort of training schedule.
Well, yeah, no, sometimes, I'm very lucky that my job is literally what I wanted to do since I was an 8-year-old, and even in a big day, say a 6-hour training day, or the very biggest kind of day, I might do a 7-hour training day. There's still quite a lot of hours in the day there to eat, to sleep, to rest, to do the other stuff. Not saying it's easy, but compared to people who are working like 10-12-hour days, yeah, if I do a 6-hour training day, I've still got 6 hours of time to do my other stuff.
Your medals list is something else. 2 Olympic titles, gold medals, 2012, 2016, 2-time triathlon world champion, 2-time world team champion, 4-time European champion, Commonwealth champion, MBE, sports science degree, and a master's in finance. That's not a bad list, mate. I think most people would be proud of that. What's the greatest achievement out of all of those, or maybe something I've missed?
I think that the Olympic titles, obviously, I remember watching the Olympic Games in 1996 in Atlanta, and then triathlon actually was the first time it was in the Olympic Games was in Sydney in 2000, and I stayed up in the middle of the night as a 12-year-old to watch it, and I didn't think it seemed completely irrelevant to me. I thought it's an amazing thing to watch, and this event's incredible and it's so special, but it's what special people do, and I'll never be there. And then 8 years later, in 2008, I was on the start line in Beijing, blew up and came 12th, but then the next 2 times after that, obviously got it right and won in London and Rio, and yeah, they were both the kind of highlights. I think London in lots of ways, because I'd known about that event for so long, for the 7 year, I remember being at school in 2005 when it got announced that the Olympic Games in 2012 were going to be in London, and obviously I was already doing a lot of sport, and the school headmaster was like, "Oh, wouldn't it be amazing if you could be there?" And I was like, "Yeah, no chance," but great thought. And yeah, so I probably thought of that race, that event, most days in those 7 years, and so to actually be there, I guess to be a favourite, to cope with the pressure, and actually pull it off and cross the finish line at that point was incredibly special.
Please do subscribe, hit the button.